In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a lid for your cube. And when you start cutting into your cube, you do want the consistency of the clay to be um, a little bit damper than leather hard. So I actually had to wrap my cube up for a couple hours here before cutting into it because it was a little bit too dry. If it's too dry, it could start crumbling when you start cutting into it. So I have my patterns here, my additive patterns, and I also have some found object patterns on here. And the tools that you're going to want to have are definitely your needle tool to trace your lid and a felt knife to cut into your lid. Okay, when you think about cutting a lid for your cube, you don't want something that's just going to be straight all across because it's going to cause your lid to slide off. You also don't want a lid that's going to get trapped. Okay, in this last example right here, it goes up and down like a castle, kind of brick castle. The problem with this is that it could get trapped pretty easily if the lines aren't straight. These examples are simple and they do work. If you do want something that's straight across all around, you still need like something like a triangle or a half circle just to allow it to stay put. So I'm going to take my needle tool here, and you start off by just tracing um, on your clay where you want your line. The good thing about using this needle tool and just kind of tracing is that if you don't like where your lines are, you could just simply just take your finger and just kind of erase the line. And so you're gonna, wherever you start, that's where you're gonna end. So just think about definitely going back to, from point A, all the way back to point A. Okay. And now that I'm finished tracing, I'm going to take my felt knife and I'm just going to go ahead and start cutting into the clay. At the corners, it's going to be a little tougher, so you definitely want to bring that felt knife a little deeper. And you're just going to go all the way around where you have your line traced. Okay, and there we go. And you're going to notice that there's going to be like a lot of bumps along the way wherever the felt knife kind of kicked in there. And you're going to identify where that last slab attached, because now you're going to go back and weave and smooth that out and also put a little coil right there to support that. So you're going to make sure you identify which side it was and weave all the sides and make sure that it's secure. Now I made a little pillow here for myself because you have pattern on the lid now, and so when you're setting your top down, I'm just going to make sure that you don't ruin what you have created. Okay, so I'm just sealing up all the seams inside here. To make it easier to identify where the lid fits, you're going to take your needle tool and you're going to poke a hole there and you're going to poke a hole right there on top. This is just to make sure that it's just easier to, identify where the lid goes. And then you're going to go around with your needle tool or your felt knife and you're just going to smooth out, trim down some areas. Yes, you could take a sponge. I definitely discourage you from using it too much though, because it could take away too many details. Also, when you take your needle tool or your felt knife to kind of trim down the lid, be careful not to trim down too much either. All you want to do is just kind of smooth it out. And at the edges right here, where it's like a hard 90-degree angle, I like taking the needle tool and kind of beveling it so that it smooths out both inside of the lid and on the outside of the lid. And you're going to do that to the same thing to the bottom side here. And it will take a little while to kind of smooth all the parts out. And again, up close here, I have like a hard edge. I'm just going to take my needle tool and just bevel the edge right here. It just gives it a cleaner look and it's not a sharp edge. And once I'm done, I'm going to line it up. And you see, I have taken some parts off too much, and so see you'll see like some gaps here and there. It doesn't bother me, but you don't want that gap to be too large to the point where the lid doesn't really fit nicely. Okay. And as I go along, I'm just gonna refine. Now I'm just gonna go back and refine things. And that's it. Thanks for watching.